tax avoidance schemes, placing workers into jobs, including government roles, over the course of 2 decades. Many of these workers were paid by third-party umbrella companies, with their salaries given as loans. That was to allow them to circumvent income tax. It is the latest revelation in a scandal that has caused untold misery for tens of thousands of people who'd signed up with umbrella companies thinking that they were above board. Well, our business and economics correspondent Gurpreet Narwan has been looking into this story and has this report.
Well, they keep sending letters when I was in hospital. Eventually, I have to send in the doctor's report, and they stopped sending me letters.
A brief respite, but living with debt is a constant ordeal. HMRC is demanding that Manuel pay back tax that should have been deducted from his pay.
I've been found guilty, and I gotta pay. But the people who did the scheme can come back and do it again.
In 2006, Manuel was recruited as a piping supervisor by Atlantic Resourcing, the recruitment arm of energy giant Petrofac. His recruiter connected him to a third party known as an umbrella company, which managed his pay and claimed it was paying all relevant tax. It was operating a tax avoidance scheme. HMRC caught on and hit him with a £4,000 bill.
By the time I couldn't pay, I was short of money because I had a cancer and I couldn't work. I thought, why should they not pay any money?
Petrofac was not legally responsible for collecting the tax, and the company said it is not involved in or responsible for the administration of taxes for self-employed limited company contractors. We are therefore not able to comment on the tax affairs of such contractors. Manuel is not alone. Around 50,000 people across Britain, including cleaners, nurses and council workers, are facing tax demands after falling into tax avoidance schemes. These schemes were not illegal, but used tax loopholes, paying workers loans instead of salaries to avoid income tax. Many saw deductions on their pay slips, which they wrongly assumed were taxes. Instead, the schemes were pocketing them in fees.
In the Red Book, we set out in detail the action we will take to shut down disguised remuneration schemes.
The loan charge was introduced in 2019 to recoup the missing tax. It transferred the legal responsibility for collecting the tax onto the workers. They say they were let down by the agencies they trusted. And Sky News has seen evidence of major recruitment agencies, such as Hayes, recommending umbrella companies that turned out to be tax avoidance schemes. A spokesperson for Hayes said, Hayes engages only with umbrella companies that appropriately meet legal and financial obligations. We conduct thorough due diligence when adding an umbrella company to our PSL list. The government has now launched a review, but crucially, it's not looking at the role of recruitment agencies, accountants, or the promoters of the tax avoidance schemes. Schemes like these were littered throughout the recruitment supply chain. Agencies pushed them, accountants greenlit them, lawyers approved them. But they were ticking time bombs waiting to go off. And now it's the workers who are paying the price. And many, including Peter, not his real name, are wondering why the wider industry has escaped accountability.
They are the key agency for central government work. If Capita says something to you, then you believe it's correct.
Peter worked for what was then the Department for Business Innovation and Skills. He says his recruiter Capita gave him a list of umbrella companies to use, but he was later hit with the loan charge. He was so overwhelmed that in 2019 he attempted to take his own life.
I sent HMRC a suicide note because I thought I was just fed up with all of this. I was just fed up with the way they've been behaving. I've been on antidepressants. I live in denial. I try to deny that things happen. I do drink alcohol sometimes, quite a bit.
Capita said, we have strict policies in place to ensure both Capita and our suppliers comply with relevant law, policies and procedures. Ministers are now strengthening the law to make recruitment agencies responsible for tax collection. But that provides little comfort to those who have already fallen foul. Gurpreet Narwan, Sky News.
Well, Gurpreet is with me now here in the studio. I mean, there'll be some people who go, you know, what they should have probably realised at the time, that what they were doing was maybe avoiding tax. But there'll be others who are saying, what's the government doing here, that if it was legal at the time, they shouldn't be punished now?
Yeah, well, the government has been alert to the scale of this for some time. Successive governments have been alert to this for some time. And in particular, they're really sensitive to the money that's at stake here. These aren't just, if it was a few £1 million, they could have just written it off. But they can't do that without it being a fiscally relevant event, which, when you consider how constrained the public finances are, it's not a politically easy option. But what this government now is doing is it's trying to strengthen the law going forward. So in that package, it talks about recruitment agencies. They're now changing the law so that recruitment agencies will be held legally responsible for tax collection. It's not enough to say the umbrellas in our supply chain were dealing with it. They will be now held legally responsible. But that provides very little respite for those like Manuel, you heard from in the package, who've already been caught out by all of this. And I think what this report shows is how far these schemes proliferated throughout the recruitment supply chain. And while many of the recruitment agencies didn't know the umbrellas they were recommending were tax avoidance schemes, they also said they did their due diligence, which was enough for many people. When you've got companies like the ones I've just referenced, the strength of their recommendations is enough to give people confidence. I think the problem here is, and it touches to the point you made, is that tax avoidance is a legally grey area. It's not tax evasion. Those in the know will probably be aware that HMRC was always likely to shut these schemes down and then to go after people for the missing tax. And in this case, they have done that. They've gone after the individuals. But they would say, well, clearly there's a whole ecosystem of players here, whether that's the recruitment agencies, whether that's the accountants, whether that's the umbrella companies, and that the government should be looking at them too. But the government's been very clear that in its review, it will not be doing that.
Okay, Gopri, thank you very much indeed for that. And you can get more on that story on, indeed, the Sky News website. Thank you.